So let's see, I have some plans. So tell me what plans you want me to show. Let's see. All right, so why don't we just do a roll call? I know, so Tom DePercio.
Yep, I'm here.
Kevin Breen.
Yes, I'm here.
I'm here. David Georgie.
Yes, I'm here.
And Jeff Cook.
I'm here.
Okay. All right, Brian, take it away.
Sure. So last time we were in, we had coming up our MEPA virtual site visit and a virtual meeting with MassDOT. We've had both those meetings. I know Tom DePercio was able to join the MassDOT meeting, and a few of you were able to join the MEPA site visit. And so we're here before you looking for comments for the Urban Affairs Committee as part of our special permit application. We're hoping to get before Urban within the next week or two once we submit our draft decision, and hopefully once we've wrapped up with the Conservation Commission and the ZBA. Conservation Commission meeting on Thursday, hopefully for the final time on this project, and the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting on Monday the 10th, hoping to wrap up with them once we have an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission. So that's sort of where we're at procedurally, and with this group, we're looking for comments and happy to answer additional questions you may have in advance of giving your reports to Urban Affairs.
Okay. So any comments, Tom, or, I mean, I have a few that I'll share, but Tom, do you have any?
Well, so I've got just some minor comments on the utility design still that I can get out, that and from an engineering standpoint, the same on the drainage. I think it will be minor comments that won't affect affairs too much. I guess my biggest concern is the site access. I'm still not convinced, and there wasn't too much in the way of feedback yet from MassDOT, at least from the part of the meeting I saw. I was late to the meeting, but I'm just not convinced that the site access has been designed based on the existing conditions on the road and all the access driveways, especially on the opposite side of the road. I don't feel like the design was done based on what's the best location for access to avoid or minimize conflicts from vehicles that are going to go into all the other driveways. And I'm not sure if we're expecting comments in that regard from MassDOT, or if they're just going to look at where you've proposed the access points. I'd like a better case made for the access points. I feel like they were designed from the inside of the project out, and they kind of just landed where they landed on Route 20. And I'm not sure. I think better. I'm not convinced that one access point for both entering and exiting, or a separated one entrance and one egress from the site would be better. Right now you've got an egress at the western end of the site, and then an entrance and an egress in the center. I'd like a better case made for that, and the locations of those, and an analysis of how that's going to take into account the conflicts from vehicles property. So for me, that's my biggest concern at this point.
I know we have Dave Robinson on the line from Allen & Major. Dave, can you address some of Tom's points and questions?
I mean, it's something that we certainly thought about. I don't think that we went in here without any thought. It's something we're going to continue to work with MassDOT and our traffic consultant on. You know, I mean, it's certainly a big part of the project, and it's something we'll continue to review as we move forward.
In the MIPA report, there's very little about the project access, and I think it warrants a little more study about how vehicles are already using the properties on the north side, and where you've got left turn movements into those properties and out of them, and how those are going to interact with where you've got your access points.
This is Priscilla, and so during the MIPA meeting, there was a lot of comments from abutter or neighbors or residents and counselors about the traffic issue and the bus issue and all of that. So I didn't really hear a response that said, you know, yes, those have been addressed. It just was put on the table. So I guess I wonder how those things will be addressed.
Sure. We plan when we get before Urban Affairs to get more into the details of our report, which we prepared and submitted to the city. We didn't go into that during the public hearing. Usually councilors don't want that level of detail at the hearing, but at Urban Affairs would be a good place to do that. And so we're planning to do that as part of our review with the Affairs Committee, a little bit more detailed analysis of our traffic study and the assumptions that we made and how we took into account, you know, neighboring properties and you know, comparable uses along the way to estimate what our impacts will be.
Well, then I think it's premature for us to give city council comments, or we can just make an open-ended comment that there's still questions about traffic that needs to be resolved.
No, that's fair, and that's, I think, makes sense given that we'll be back before this committee again for formal site plan review if we go through a special permit with the city council.
Hey, this is Tom with Waypoint. Can everyone hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. I was having trouble speaking without the phone before. So just to make sure I'm following correctly, the main concern is really at this point about conflicts with the driveways and accesses across the street. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, at least speaking for myself. Yes.
Okay. And the change we made to make the westerly access point exit only was intended to avoid the conflict with the gas station. So I think we felt that alleviated that concern. So is the concern, I guess we have the shopping center and the villages across the street. So would those be the 2 points of focus?
I think it's more of a general just concern that that both accesses, if it does remain as to that they're both designed at the best locations.
Okay, so we would just have to show that where they are currently located, you know, assuming that we feel these are the best locations, we would have to show that it effectively minimizes conflicts with the other access points and can provide minimal disturbance to the flow of traffic. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think your traffic analysis, your transportation impact analysis should have taken that into consideration and made a case for why these locations are the best locations for access on Route 20, given all the existing driveways, especially on the other side, and the issues that have been well documented now as to having to enter Route 20, especially making a left turn, how difficult that is.
Okay, all right, yeah, I'd definitely like to loop in our traffic consultant in those conversations. So I guess back to what Priscilla was saying about providing a general comment, is, we can do our homework on our end to make that message clear. I guess when we do get to urban affairs, if that's a general comment now, is that the idea?
Yes, I guess that's where we are now.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else on the committee have comments at this juncture that I mean, obviously they're looking for some feedback to see if they're ready to go to urban affairs and whether we will be able to kind of give some direction to city council, urban affairs with some of our comments. And if we're ready to do that, then I guess that's where we're at. And if we're not, and we still want to flush some stuff out before they do that, then that's, I guess, what we want to discuss today.
I mean, I guess we can make that general comment to urban affairs at this point.
Yeah.
If that's helpful.
Yeah. And yesterday I did have a chance to actually have the paper copy of the plans in front of me, and I saw a couple of items. I sent some comments to David and Scott Goddard, and I think I gave them to Tom Moran too. I have some general questions about sort of the walking path that's around the back. We're only paving up to the dog park, but is the rest of the loop going to be used as a walking trail or not?
This is Dave Robinson. Yes, it is going to be used as a walking trail, but it's not going to be like a paved surface, only paved up to the dog park area. Okay.
And then when you get back to the parking lot, is there going to be sort of a way to get up into that, or you have to turn around and go back?
No, it loops on both. It loops on both sides, so you can do a full loop. You don't have to turn around.
I didn't catch that in the design. Is that on one of the pages?
Yeah, it should be on the layout plan. And the hardscape plan as well. The hardscape plan.
Okay.
We're not improving that area of the path, though. It's going to remain natural to keep the parking lot naturally.
Correct. I got that. I just wanted to be sure. The other question was the dog park design. I sent you some stuff, I guess, on Sunday night about the dog park design. Have you seen that, and do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, so as far as the dog park is concerned, I think one of their comments was, keep it out of the floodplain as well. So that's what we tried to do when we placed in that kind of the location where it is now.
And yeah, in terms of like the canine turf and everything, our intent in keeping it grass at that location was to keep that area as natural as possible at that location. So where we've utilized the canine turf and things in the past at other projects, here we felt it was appropriate to keep that grass. So I just wanted to ask here if that was something we could consider, again, just given where it's located on the site.
I guess I just wanted to figure, I know that when we were looking at Talia, we were looking at water quality stuff and the runoff that occurs from a turf area. I guess I'll have to think about that. We went back and forth quite a bit with the Talia site, and they ended up showing us this sort of new. It's almost like a doggy septic system sort of system that the water goes. Everything gets sort of flushed through some of the ground before it discharges out. So I guess there's a pretty good distance between where it's discharging, sort of overland. So I'll have to think about that.
Okay. Is there an argument to be made that just given the site's historical use, there's been, a fair amount of animals using the property for a long time, so this might be a less impactful condition than what's been there historically?
No, that argument doesn't fly. This is sort of a new project, and we're just sort of making sure that going forward that we're looking at all the pieces and not sort of comparing it to what was there.
Okay, understood.
That's not, yep. I had a couple of other questions and I can't remember what they were. I don't have it in front of me. I think I still have to look at the landscape plan. I haven't delved into that yet. I didn't have a chance yesterday. Tom and I were just talking about that before you guys came on. I think there may be some interpretation of the landscape design that's not quite there.
Yeah, so the landscaping around, I'll call it the big parking lot at the southeast part of the site. I feel like the ordinance would call for a 7-foot strip between the parking lot and the retaining wall along the long side, and then also on the southern end. I'm not sure if you caught that in the ordinance, or you feel like it meets the intent the way that it is now, or if it was just missed.
David,
we'll have to review
is that your?
But does it specifically call retaining walls, or is it just an interpretation that 7 foot is needed?
I couldn't hear that, if that was a question.
This is Dave Robinson. That was Carlton. He just said, does it specifically call out retaining walls, or is it just the interpretation that it's needed?
It calls for the perimeter. Basically, you need a strip around the perimeter of all parking lots. And the dimension of the perimeter is defined in the ordinance too, and I think it would be 7 feet in this case.
So I guess you guys can look into that and sort of see how you were interpreting it, and so we can understand that, and then we can decide whether we agree or not.
Thank you. That's something we'll discuss with our landscape architect.
Okay. And I can't remember what else was on my list. There was like 5 or 6 things. The walking path, the dog park, or the riverfront area. I'll talk to you about that after just because that's a wetlands thing, but I wasn't quite clear whether you were supposed to be out of the first 100 feet, and it didn't look like that was the case when I was doing measuring. So we can talk about that separate. I don't know if it changes anything, but I need to understand what the interpretation is.
And you had a question about the location of the main drain outfall being right at the wetland line.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like they've got the end of the pipe at the 20-foot no disturb, but then the riprap apron goes all the way to the wetland line. So it does look like that could be pulled back.
Okay. Yeah, Dave Robinson, was that an agreeable thing?
Let me take a look at it, but I believe we had it out there because of the elevation. That's why.
Okay.
Just for getting down there. So let me take a look. We'll see if we can pull it back as much as we can. We'll try and keep it out of the 20, and it's something we can definitely, I'm sure we can work on.
Yeah, and if elevation's an issue, then that's one of the reasons that we would allow it, but otherwise we would pull it back. So I didn't know that. I thought that was an area that was pretty flat. So
no, it's we're trying to keep 1% on the pipe, so it has some pitch to it. I remember looking at that, but I'll see if there's any wiggle room if we can pull it back. But if not, I think having that adequate pitch on the outlet pipe is important for proper discharge.
And it's not going to surcharge or anything because it's in the floodplain area? The discharge point, if that area floods, it's not going to back up?
That's something we can look at too. And there's devices you can put on to mitigate the surcharge.
Okay. I think those were my issues. Does anybody else have any?
Jeffrey Cook.
Yeah.
Could somebody explain to me the relationship of the sidewalk connecting to the remote parking lot with the existing guardrail system, where is the sidewalk gonna go? On the inside or outside edge of that guardrail? Or is that gonna get taken away or something?
The sidewalk was designed by DOT. We're just gonna end up having to construct it, if we are done first. But we can take a look at whether it's inside or outside the guardrail.
Yeah, Jeff, the guardrail is going to be moved as part of the road reconstruction project.
Thank you.
And just to bring Jeff up to speed, there was quite a bit of discussion in the MIPA review, as well as with conservation, about how that sidewalk gets maintained and who, because if it's a satellite parking or required parking for the project, that as part of their maintenance, they would, need to make sure that people can get from their parking lot to their buildings. So I think that would be a comment that we would make to Urban Affairs, that would be a condition of some sort, that they would be responsible for that section of the sidewalk. But again, that's just something to be reviewed a little bit more in detail. But that was raised in a couple of places.
Yeah, Priscilla, that's a condition we already have in the special permit decision. That exact point that was raised during the public hearing before the city council, and Ed Clancy has raised that as well. So we've got a condition drafted to that effect.
Okay, sounds good.
Tom DePercio, could you answer this question for me? Is on the south side of Route 20, is that going to be continuous sidewalk continuing on with the rest of the state project?
Yes, it is. Yep, the whole corridor will have sidewalks on both sides.
So is this sidewalk going to get constructed once, or is the state going to come in and do it again? Depends on who goes in first.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, I think well, not to speak for the applicant, but I think their intent would be that the state would build that sidewalk, and I'm not sure timing wise how that's going to shake out.
That's correct. If the state is not in a position to build that sidewalk by the time we need it, then we'll be constructing it.
And Tom, that'll be a special permit condition as well that we've already had.
Okay.
So anyone else have any comments? David Georgie, or Kevin Breen, any comments that we should be considering for Urban Affairs, or things that they need to deliberate?
Good morning. No, it's David. I don't have any comments at this time. I know the last meeting we had, we talked about, I kind of piggybacked on Tom and Chief Breen's comments about the entrance and egress there, that one, how it could back up with some of those parking spots close to the end. But no, I can hold that, because I know that they're working on that part of it.
Same comment, Priscilla. The applicant has heard all of our concerns, so I have nothing new to add. Thank you.
Okay, it sounds like there's a few little open ends that we still need to kind of figure out based on what we did today. So if you wanted to, if Brian wants to, or David Robinson could sort of summarize some of those comments and sort of address those, and then we can figure out where we stand and what comments we can make to Urban Affairs. Does that sound right?
Absolutely.
And I think Tom still needs to give us all some comments about drainage, but I think they've made a lot of changes. You guys made a lot of changes already, so I think we're close on that.
Yeah, and I'll plan to get the Conservation Commission any comments for Thursday.
Okay. Sounds good. So why don't we leave it that you guys sort of address the issues we've raised today, and then kind of give us a memo sort of saying this is where we stand, and then we can then make comment to Urban Affairs and either just say these are still things that need to be resolved, or, you know, these items have been addressed to our satisfaction and these items are still open and we just need further discussion, and these are our concerns. I mean, that I guess that's what I'm thinking this letter would look like.
I hope that works. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll take it from there. And again, we'll get back to you on some landscaping stuff. You get back to us and then we'll get back to you.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
All right, Bruce Alec, I believe you are on.
I am. Could you hear me okay?
and we can hear you.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry
All
for
right.
my background noise. We're still trying to figure out why in this venue. I think I have to go to a different room. My room seems to be bad, but why don't you go ahead and explain your changes, Bruce, and then we can ask you questions.
Okay. All right, I'll just go through it really quick. I had sent out a email kind of like summarizing some of the differences, but essentially we are pulling back on the size of the building by about 10%. We're going from 10 units to 9 units. We're also reducing the impervious area by about 7,000 square feet. And we're also pulling back further away from wetlands with the disturbance areas. There's less disturbance in the buffer now. We're also, so essentially, the building's a little bit smaller. We're providing enough parking space for this smaller building that we have. Parking spaces have been reduced a little bit from 56 to 48. We still have plenty of parking. And the building elevation is the same. It's under design right now, the architectural design of the building. So it is going through some changes. And as a matter of fact, I just want to point out that the building height, I'm going to make a change on build number 2 on sheet C1 about the building height. It's not going to be any taller than the approved building. If anything, it's going to be shorter, lower than the approved building. But we're not going to exceed any of the prior limitations on the building height at all. And so I'm just going to go through it real quick here. Building size reduced about 2,000 square feet from 20,900 square feet to 18,800 square feet. The impervious area has been reduced. Pavement has been reduced. And what we've done is we eliminated some of the parking spaces. If you look at this overlay plan that you have in front of you now, let's see if we rotate that. What we did is we moved the building towards William Street by about 9 feet. However, we held the edge of pavement. The way we did that was we eliminated 4 parking stalls on the right side or on the side of the pavement area. Moved the driveway over that. We're not moving the pavement area. So that allowed us to also move the west side of the pavement area further away from the wetland. And that's where the slope really drops off. So what's
Excuse
happened
me,
there?
Bruce, this is Priscilla.
Sure.
Do you want to try to take control and so you can use a cursor and
Sure.
point to it?
Yeah.
I think you go to the bar and then there's 3 dots and I'll allow you. Okay, there we go.
Okay. All right.
Now you should be able to control. So go ahead.
Okay. So let's see if we can rotate. Okay, I can rotate. All right, very good. Oh, I went too fast. there's like a little bit of delay when you click these. All right, so I'll try to zoom up a little bit here. So, all right, so the red represents the modified plan, and the gray scale, and also the purple scale that's below there for the drain system is the old plan, or the approved plan, I should say.
Hey, Bruce, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Got it. Okay, could you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, I'll repeat that. So the grayscale, as shown right over here, that's the approved plan. The red is the modified plan. So everything you see in grayscale is the approved plan. So for example, here's the building approved. Here's the building, west side modified. And there's a 9-foot shift on the east side over here to here. The parking, the pavement area did not change because what we did is we took out these 4 stalls here, and we just shifted the driveway over to the same size. So the pavement doesn't shift east, just the building. The building moved 9 feet. So that allowed us to pull as much away from the slope that was off on the west side here. That in turn allowed us to eliminate retaining walls. Matter of fact, all of this retaining wall that's shown here on the approved plan is now gone. It's been eliminated. So that's going to be a plus for the abutters to the north, reducing cost, obviously. So right now we're just looking at slope grading all along this side here, along here. So that's slope grading that we have there. We're able to pull the erosion control back. We have less activity in the zone over there. The retaining wall has been reduced probably by about 50% height. The maximum height location was over here. That was about 18 feet. Now it's about 9 feet at the highest point. So that's one of the bigger changes there. So there's going to be a lot less earthwork. A lot of the earthwork was going to be over on the west side, where the big slope was. We also reduced, we changed the drain system around. We eliminated some of the chamber systems over here, reduced it down to 2 rows. This chamber system over here is slightly reduced. We have a smaller building, smaller impervious area. And our outlet control structures are fairly the same, except they're back over here. They're down in this area. We're discharging to the same location, except that we don't need as much riprap down at the lower end. We eliminated 1 catch basin, 1 drain manhole because the current plan, the original plan had a flat roof construction, and we had downspouts that were dispersed inside the building and coming out to a manhole. That manhole is no longer necessary. The current design is a pitched roof from north to south about 4%, and the downspouts are going to be all along the back of the building. So we have a roof drain downspout design that's shown here and just tying into the roof chamber system over here. There'll be, by the way, a parapet on this side of the building over here. So it'll have the appearance of a flat roof building. Let's see. Some of the fence has been reduced because we have the fence along here all along the north side, down to what we call limit line 2. Will be a fence there, same as before. Since we do not have any retaining wall along this section over here, there's no need to really put a fence in there. until we get back to the retaining wall, which is, over here. And there'll be for building code requirements, we have to have a fence that's at least 42 inches high along the top of the wall, all the way down to where, towards the street here. So a little bit of fence can reduce. Pretty much it. We're going to try to save that 47 inch diameter tree that's over there. And I think I covered everything. Just to let you know that the building is currently under design, and the number of units that we have here, although we're showing 9 units, we could go down, or most likely down. This is more maximization here as far as number of units. And that's going to be subject to the market. And the number of bay doors along the north side, particularly north side, may get reduced. There may be more pedestrian doors there based on the market as well. Yeah, I think I covered about everything. So Priscilla, we'll be going submitting also to the conservation. You have us on, I think, on the 20th of August.
Yep, I think that's correct. So these changes, I mean, they may look a little bit different, but you're changing some of the drainage and you're changing some of the grading. So I think we need to look at the details on the plans a little bit more specifically. I guess I'm glad that you're pulling everything away from the wetland. It sounds like maybe we can save some more trees, but I guess I'm trying to figure out if the grading does that, because that slope. So are you kind of staying on the existing slope instead of going down the slope, or are you still cutting in? Are you still filling out a little bit more?
Yeah, we are still filling out a little bit more. I don't know if we have control of that plan, but if do I have control of that plan, I can pull up this site plan over here. Go to this plan here. Oops, we'll get down to the building. All right, here's the grading plan. So you can see we are still grading out. Here's you can see the contouring here, right over there. That's the big drop off right over there. So we are still grading out. We are still filling in that area. We start to match or get back into that slope once we get down here, but that is still a fill area. I believe the slopes are either I think it's like a 3-to-1, or may go down to like a 2.5, 2.5 to 1 down on this side over here. So the steepest slopes we have are 2.5 to 1, and then I believe we're trying to hold 3-to-1 up on this side. So I can confirm that later, but here's just looking at it. So there will be some more grading. We are pulling the erosion control back, however. So there's going to be we're moving back about 12 feet, the erosion control line along this section over here. And we're getting more space in this area. This was the tightest area right over here. We're pulling back there as well. So as far as I can see, all the elements of the design are within, the permit thresholds that we had before. So we have an overall reduction in the amount of disturbance, overall reduction in the amount of pavement, and so on. The building's a little bit smaller. So it's just pretty much the same design, except it's a little bit more compact. And we're moved as far as we can, get everything moved as far as we can away from an area and that drop-off area.
Okay, so I guess the question to Jeff and to maybe Tom is what additional, I mean, this is a slight change, but it's still a change. I think we all have to look at that. Do we need to wait for the design of the building so that we have a better sense of what it's going to look like before we can make a decision, or how does that work?
So Bruce, there's no change in the use of the building?
That's correct. There's no change in the use. Use will be the same. And just number of units have been reduced in the size of the building. We have DR Pool and Construction is, they're the ones that are doing the design of the building. If you're interested, I could put up a progress plan that just gives you an idea what it's going to look like, but that's going to probably change. But it's, I can pull that up if you're interested. I think I might have it. I can see if I can get it up here.
Jeff, what are your thoughts about the changes? I mean, I think it might be a minor change. I mean, but I think we need to look at this and actually sign a new plan. I don't think it's something that's just minor. This is minor major.
Yeah, I agree that we should sign the plan.
Yeah.
I think it's an improvement. There's an overall site impact is less, so I'm okay with the change, but I do think we should sign a new plan.
Yep, and I can look at the conditions, and because I don't think that the conditions are going to change much, because the overall layout's about the same. It's just the unit numbers and all that. Jeff, what are you thinking about the building appearance? I mean, I think that is one of the purviews of the site plan review committee, is that it sort of fits in the neighborhood. So we need to kind of look at that.
Yes, I'd like to see what the new appearance is going to be before we totally sign off.
Correct.
If we agreed on one thing and now it's changing, I echo Tom's sentiments that yes, it's a change, but it's for the better, that it's gotten a little less impact. So I approve that. But we do want to have signed plans on record as to what is going on.
Priscilla?
Yeah.
This is Kevin Breen, Fire Chief. So I'd like to have Bruce just address a couple of concerns that I have based on his presentation. So Bruce, you talked about the height and you said it's going to change, but could you be specific and tell us what the height of the building is? And additionally, could you identify, I think you said that we're losing parking spaces, if I recall, 56 to 48. Could you identify where those were taken from? Because it appears that you have added parallel spaces to the front of the building that were more towards the closest to the street, and now you have them against the building. Is that correct?
No, actually, if you look over at the right side, the east side of the building, we used to have 8 parking spaces over there. So we had the driveway, we had 4 on each side of the driveway on the east side of the building, right over in this area under the old plan. And under the new plan, we just have 4 parking spaces on against the building. So all we did is we shifted the driveway over to the east.
Right.
So we gained about 8 feet on that side by doing that, 9 feet actually. When we moved the edge of, we held the edge of pavement where the parking was, and we just shifted the edge driveway over to that edge.
So I recognize that in terms of fire department access, that's still appropriate. My concern is this: whenever there's parking in the front of the building, what I'll call side A, which is parallel with William Street, the front of the building. I think that's where we were talking about locating the FDC. Not a big fan of parking cars in front of the fire department connection in terms of the width between the building, if that is a sidewalk, and having cars obstruct view and or access to that. So you've shifted those four spaces which were outside of the pavement away from the building, closest to the building. Is that correct?
No, if you look at, they were actually there. We haven't changed those parking spaces at all. all we did is we eliminated the parking that was over on this side.
Okay.
So those have been eliminated. So we took out 4 spaces over there.
Okay, so it was a combination of the red and the gray dashes that I couldn't make out. Okay. And so what is located right in that space? I'm looking to make sure the hydrant locations and the fire department connections haven't changed.
They haven't changed.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments? If not, Bruce, I guess we're waiting for your architectural design so we can see what it will look like. Conservation will look at it on Thursday or whenever we're looking at it. And then we can all look, Tom can look at sort of the drainage to make sure everything's good there, and then we can get back to you. So once you get back to us with those things, we can feed you back some comments, and then we can finalize if we're all set.
Okay, sounds good. Right. We'll get you those architectural plans as soon as they're available.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
And as far as the rest of the committee, is there anything else, Tom? I know I wasn't at the last 2 meetings, so anything that I should, that we didn't put on the agenda that should have been, or anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You're up to speed already.
All right then. Okay then, if there's nothing else, then I think we can adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. Bye.
Bye.